6 minutes, here we go. So there you can see, this is our facility right here. Now the factory, we're calling it Factory Sports. For the past 3 years, we've had basketball camps, and so we were at kind of the mercy of the schools. So we're renting out schools and running basketball camps. Myself and a partner of mine who's now coaching collegiate basketball in Tennessee for a Division II women's team. And so we've constantly ran basketball camps, and we'd always talked about it'd be really nice to have our own facility, although we never thought that would be a possibility. And then I had actually a job opportunity with the YMCA and applied for a job out in Missouri, which made my in-laws panic and said, well, hey, we may have a warehouse for you. Why don't you do it right here? And so this is how this all happened. So we converted an old warehouse. This is in Nassau Commons, that picture there. It used to be a cabinetry shop, and so we just gutted the cabinetry shop and went from there. Now, my objective, not only in business, but as a person and my wife as well, is to finish our course with joy. We want to, so especially with all the stresses that come with starting up a new business, we want to make sure that we're not losing our minds in order to make this business work, and we want to maintain, you know, an atmosphere and an attitude of joy and enjoyment in what we're doing. And so we're willing to pull the plug if necessary, if it's going to destroy who we are as people. Now, as a business, our objective is to inspire and educate and produce athletes, primarily basketball players, but now we've expanded a little bit, who will be able to compete not only with some sort of expertise, but also with creativity. Because I think when we get to training, I train some college athletes, and at that point it becomes somewhat of a labor and a task, and I constantly tell them if it stops becoming fun and you stop enjoying what you're doing, that's like the moment that you're going to get worse. And so we want to make sure that they can do that, and I think creativity on the basketball court and in their sport will enable them to enjoy what they're doing, as well as competing at a high level. And so we had the 3 years of camps, and so now on Monday we're opening up our facility there. You can see that's the old New Jersey Nets basketball floor, which was that was kind of the deal maker for us. I was looking at painting concrete slab and putting lines down. That was going to be our original intent, and buying some basketball goals off of eBay. Well, it's since evolved, and then we started looking at a rubber synthetic floor to do our activities on there. And then I came across this. I was actually looking for some bleachers to put up in our facility, and I found an old hardwood floor. And I didn't know which floor it was. Well, I've always been a basketball player, and I watched the NBA, and I didn't know what floor it was, but it was cheaper than the synthetic rubber. And my wife says, well, what's better, hardwood or rubber? And I said, if I can get hardwood, I'm getting hardwood. And so this is what we ended up getting. I didn't know it at the time. I called him. I said, look, I'll write you a check on the spot if we can get this floor. I was competing with the Philadelphia Police Athletic League, who this company had done many floors with. Well, so they have to have like 100 people sign off on, you know, spending any kind of money. I just had myself and my wife to sign off on it, so it was a lot easier. So I told them I would write a check, and then I had to consult with the bank to see if I could actually do that. And they said that would work out. And they said, well, you might want to talk to the guy to make sure you don't write him a check and never see him again. You know, I don't think this way, so I'm like, oh, yeah, that's good advice, thanks. So I called him up and started kind of getting some references, and he was coming back from doing the Syracuse court. He said, we do the Celtics court, we do the New Jersey Nets court, and I'm like, that's good enough for me. And so I'm asking him, well, where'd you get this floor? And he said, it's from the old Continental Airlines arena. And I'm like, you know, I'm trying to rack my brain about what that is. And this was the floor that when the Nets went to the finals against the Lakers. And so I said, why don't you lead with that? Yeah, I definitely want this floor. And you know, we had to paint the floor. We had to sand it and paint it. But after it was all said and done, we actually got a better deal than we would have just getting a brand new floor. And I think it's just cool having a Nets floor. So I don't know if I have. Apparently, Facebook is the way to go. My wife started this page, and she here's the front desk. We kept the old NBA logo. That's our front desk. That's pretty cool. Here's my kids that are going to be kind of living here. I got 3 young boys, so I think this is like it would have been a dream come true for me, so I think they're going to certainly enjoy it. So aside from we got a hardwood floor, we got 6 basketball goals. We're going to have 2 batting cages at the end. We had it painted for a college 3-point line as well, and we have some volleyball lines down, and we're getting a volleyball system. and we'll have indoor soccer. So these are kind of the activities that we're going to have. It's basically going to be a place where athletes come when it's their off season, and so they'll do training in the off season. And you know, I have contacts. I also work at the high school down at Cape, so I have contacts there. And you know, a lot of kids are shocked that I'm going to charge them to come into my gym, but you know, and then that's actually one of the difficulties that I face is that I would train them for free, you know, but now I have a big bill to to pay off. So now I have to charge these kids. I've always been working with them. I coach at the high school as well. So you know, that's kind of where we are as far as our business goes. Like I said, we're opening next week. We're going to use the first week as we're not charging anybody anything. Just come in and see the facility. We'll run similar activities that we will throughout the course of the summer and during the school year. And but during that time, we've already had, you know, some of them are already filled up, and we'll run our activities just because I feel like we want the public to know what they will be signing up for prior to actually signing up for it. So we'll allow them to come in and see the gym and participate that way. So that's what we're about. My questions for you is the best ways for marketing, the best ways for partnership, and how to maintain an atmosphere which will be desirable to have my children there without, you know, influences that I wouldn't want them being around.
Great. Thanks, Pat. Any questions or comments for Pat? It's on.
Thank you. Talked a little bit about baseball and batting cages. Are you able to run that at the same time you're doing basketball, or does one take preference over the other?
Yeah, that's so originally we were going to pull the retractable cages over top of the court, but now we're limiting ourselves to only, from my point of view, only one source of revenue at a time. So what we did is that court actually runs, when we bought it, it was 104 feet. We took out a panel, they were 4x8 pieces, so we shortened it up 96. And now we have 2 batting cages past the court, so they'll be able to go simultaneously. The first cage will have it's a mammoth pitching machine. It holds like 600 baseballs, and we put in a token, you know, slot, so I don't really have anything to do. We just sell the tokens; they can go do their thing. And then the second batting cage is going to have a soft toss machine, an L screen, which will be for live pitching. So if a father or son want to come in there, I can throw you the balls rather than waiting for the pitching machine. Soft tosses just tosses the ball up, and they can hit into the net. And then we'll have like a tee. So you can have hitting stations going on in that cage, the pitching machine in the other cage, while Big Brother's playing basketball on the court.
Now, are you going to allow, there's numerous travel baseball teams around here, and I know a lot of them are looking for batting facilities. Would you allow a team to reserve? Yeah, so we'll have like rentals for that case. We'll have drop-in, guys can just come in and use a token. I guess I'm going to do it kind of like how if you go into a gym, they have treadmills. You got to sign up for the time slot on the treadmill. So we'll do it that way, and have the drop in there. But if a team's in there, we'll let them they'll rent the entire batting cage area for an hour or so. Of course, that'll be limited. But yeah, we have the capability of doing that. It runs on a token, not only token, but also a timer, so we can do it that way.
Other questions?
Are you specializing in any particular age group, or what are the parameters of your market?
Yeah, right now the majority of the kids that sign up, like we have, in July we're going to have 4 consecutive weeks of basketball camp. So that'll be up until middle school. And then the high school age group, we'll do small group training throughout the course of the week. I don't know, this probably isn't a good business plan, but as far as teaching kids basketball, it's better to have lower numbers. So what we do with our camps, we limit how many kids can come so we can really give individualized instruction. I think it's just the best way to go. I'd feel bad about myself if we just had a ton of kids in there and they're standing around. But so for the older kids, we can really get after it with specifics according to the sport. And so that'll be middle school and high school small group training. And then they can also, you know, contact me. There's a couple of girls and those college guys I talked about for individual training. And then later on in the evening, we're going to try to cut off school-age kids, you know, around 7 or 8 o'clock, and then we'll have the later night things for adults like Chris to come out and play ball. You know, so that'll be, you know, the indoor soccer, that's mostly going to be for older, you know, it's a co-ed league, it's going to be for older kids or older adults. And then also, if we could get in a situation where we had the, you know, the soccer leagues that currently exist and run great programs to rent it out during the wintertime, that would be ideal. I don't have much of a desire to run a soccer league, but if they were able, like Henlopen Soccer, I've talked to some of them and, about running their league in the indoor in here.
How did you set up your pricing?
The pricing?
Yeah.
Well, for the camps, when we did our camps, we used to break it down into age groups. So like this first week would be middle school kids, and then the next week would be elementary school kids, and then we'd have like even pre-K and up into elementary age. And we found that, you have siblings all over the place, so it's better for them to all go at the same week. So the way we're doing it now is we have everybody coming in 1 week. And then so if your youngest kid only stays for the hour and then he takes off, so you can sign up for an hour, and then you can also sign up for a half-day camp, and you can also sign up for a full-day camp. So the older kids stay for a full day, the younger kids stay for a half-day. And it makes the younger kids more comfortable because their big brother's there. So that's how we structured the camps. We're not doing a membership yet. And the reason is because, well, being at the Y, there was oftentimes that all my buddies that play basketball can't get in, or they're paying $12 to drop in. And so if you don't have the membership, you're kind of stuck. And then when you ever want to join a program, you have to pay for the membership fee plus the program. So we're just going to keep it open and just do program fees. So on our website we have the structure of all the various pricing, but that's how we did it.
You mentioned you're partnering with your wife with this.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly does she do for the business?
She does a lot.
She runs it.
She tells you what to
Turn the
do.
camera off. No, she does all the stuff, I guess, behind the scenes. She does all the registration. She does all the communication with the emails. I mean, half the time, I'm running the programs, and I'm good once I'm out there, but people are calling me, asking me questions. I'm like, Brandy, when am I doing this program? When am I doing that program? Half the time I don't even know when I'm doing it, but once I get out there, I'm all right. So she does a lot of the financial things. My oldest brother is also an accountant, so we're in close communication with him as far as, being very aware of, what we're doing and making sure it's all done the right way. Yeah, so she does most of the paperwork. She's also going to be, like during the school year, I'm anticipating still keeping my job with the high school because most of the people we're working with, they're going to be in school or they're going to be at work, so we can maintain that. She's also a speech pathologist, and she homeschools our children. And so it's one of the main objectives for doing what we're doing is so that she can stay home more frequently and not be pulled in so many different directions. I told her, I said, I'm going to be at work from 7 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. How is this going to work when we first started discussing this? And she reminded me this is a gym. So the boys can come and run around. We'll just come to work with you, And so we have a large office, which also is their second bedroom.
When you say Nassau Commons,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to place exactly where you are. Coming off of 1, are you on the left-hand side coming off?
If you're coming south on 1, as soon as you go over Nassau Bridge, you're going to make the immediate right. So it's across from Nassau Valley
right.
Vineyards.
Yes.
It's in between Atlantic Refrigeration and Atlantic Millwork.
So your parking, I was leading up to the parking question.
Yeah, we have that lot right there. And so a lot of the stuff that we're going to do is going to be, most of those businesses are during the day. Most of the programs we're going to be doing is the afternoon. So we don't anticipate that being a huge problem.
Good deal.
Nancy has a question. Excuse me.
Considering some type of partnering with vendors to get a little revenue, are you looking at, healthy snacks or something like that could benefit them and you?
Yeah, that's something that we looked into. I've talked about, getting whatever you call those things, a big glass refrigeration and have Gatorade and water. Actually meeting with them on Monday. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we want to do. It's just something right now we're trying to get the facility ready, right. And that's another thing that I need to figure out how all that works. What is the best way to go about doing that? But yeah, that's certainly something that because right now we don't have a water fountain.
Right.
So we need to provide that with those, so that they can have access to, water and Gatorade is my primary concern. And then, of course, healthy snacks will be the same way. We're not selling sodas, yeah.
No. I was thinking more of the water and, nutritional snacks and whatever. Are you considering later on having a type of shower facility?
Yeah, we have the ability to have a shower facility upstairs. I didn't mention that. There's an upstairs loft. That's where my office will be. That is right above the front desk area. And so right above the bathrooms, obviously, you have the ability, as far as plumbing is concerned, to put a shower up there. And my father-in-law pretty much built that whole place and mentioned that to us. It would probably just be one shower. It'd be another bathroom up there and one shower. But it wouldn't be like a locker room facility.
Right. And towels and all would be an issue too.
Thank you.
How do you see yourself expanding?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, we have, we've talked about that. We have, because I'm concerned that we only have one court. That's all we can have right now. But if you have ever played pickup basketball, we had the high school guys over. We had 20 guys in there, and so you're sitting 2 games if you lose. So we're structuring our open gym time to kind of keep guys playing. But that's where that question comes up about as far as expansion. We have other property that the family owns that is currently just a field. So we have the opportunity to do that. That would be in the Milton area. But that's as far as we've gotten.
Have you considered renting?
Yeah, we've done that. We've done that for the past 3 years. We rent the school gyms. The problem is you never know what condition a gym is because we use it during the summertime. And so in the summertime, what the custodians do is they pull everything out of the rooms. They sit them in the hallways. So now you got little kids walking by with chairs stacked on top of chairs. And that's just what they do. So we're guests. And so I just never know what kind of condition the gym is in. And then if something happens, we're like the last concern. You know, during the school years, you know, if it rains, all the outdoor sports come inside and you're kicked out of the gym. So, you know, we deal with that. So it's difficult to schedule and to plan and to say, tell people this is when we're having this program, primarily because you got to go through the paperwork and it takes sometimes a very long time to get the, yes, you have the gym and here is the price. By that time, you know, you're supposed to be in there in 2 weeks. And it's just hard for advertising and marketing that way. It's certainly something we've done in the past and certainly something that we would be willing to do. For example, we have the Cape Crusaders is an AAU basketball program that they're going to make this their home. And so if we were to run a tournament down here, we could use our gym, but we would also be in need of using the other local gyms for a weekend tournament.
Well, welcome. We're glad you're here. One thing is I have an entrepreneurship student that is very interested in developing and running a soccer league. So I'd be happy to connect you for maybe the fall. And my question is, how did you come up with the name Factory, whether it's Factory Sports or Factory Hoops? What was your thinking? I
had almost forgot about this, but when I was in college, I was a sport management major, and we had to write a small business management final paper. And I was reminded that I guess it was either my mom or my brother just gave me this paper back and showed it to me, and that's what we had called it back then. This is 10 years ago. We developed a sports facility called The Factory. And the idea was that factories make things, and our objective is to make players. And so our tagline is where players are made. And my objective was always to have, you remember that scene? I don't know if you're familiar with this. You remember that scene in Rocky when he goes into Apollo Creed's gym, and he goes in there, just guys everywhere, just boxing, and you know, Rocky walks in, everything kind of stops, but that's the way it goes. It goes down as they walk into that, and there's just people working out everywhere, and it's not the nicest facility, but it's really where the work gets done. You know, and so that's kind of what was my view, is I don't need to have the nicest facility, I don't need to have the state-of-the-art stuff where you kind of come in and you're afraid to do anything. The picture that I had, and I actually took a video of it at one of our camps, is where I had 6 baskets going on and guys playing one-on-one, kind of like doing sparring matches all throughout the court. And that's kind of what I envision as far as a way to produce basketball players, is not just skill and drill stuff, but you got to go at it one-on-one against each other. And you know, kind of as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens the next on the basketball court as well.
I love your attitude. I think that's 90% of your success. And I love your in-laws.
Okay.
2 questions. One is, it sounds as if you have taken and are still taking the knowledge, skill, and experience that you have learned every day from working your job and working with YMCA, and utilize that knowledge to begin your own vision. What has been the most challenging? And number 2 is, would you talk a little bit about job creation?
The most challenging thing for us now, and this is one of the things that I really appreciate with my work at the YMCA, I was a sport director over there, that we would dictate the atmosphere. That's what I mentioned about, I had a question about that, how to maintain that. Generally speaking, when you go out on the playground and you play with, there's a certain demographic of people that you play with, and if it's game point, you're getting thrown to a fence. Is kind of how, and I wanted to be in a situation. I want to kind of dictate an atmosphere in our gym where people play that hard, but after they throw you into the wall, they'll pick you up and say, your ball. And so, to limit the, profanity and these sorts of things. So when it comes to our biggest struggle, that's my biggest concern. And that was my biggest concern with allowing adults to come in and play, to be honest with you. And that was always my concern when I was at the YMCA. I said, hey, let's do a 5-on-5 adult league. And everyone kind of went, I don't know if this is a good idea. We better have cops on hand and this sort of thing, just because, testosterone's flying all about. And so this was always a concern. That's my biggest concern with running this. Whenever I've worked with youth, it's always been, they'll, yes, coach, and they'll do what I ask them to do. I can, so it's a personality thing. That's my biggest concern and my biggest struggle. So I've taken all of that kind of experience at the YMCA to where we would actually limit what programs we ran, just because we didn't want the program to run off in a direction where people didn't feel comfortable bringing their family. People, like I said, my kids are going to be here a long time, so I'm kind of adamant about the way what's being said, and if what you say doesn't, benefit the person next to you, you're not allowed to say it. I kind of want to, govern the atmosphere in that regard. And in my perception, that's going to be our biggest struggle, how to do that. But in working with high school teams and basketball players, you get the same kind of attitudes. And in my experience, the kids love it. At first, they're going to fight against it, but then they know it's a safe. That's what discipline does, by the way. It's a safe atmosphere. They know if I'm not allowed to get away with it, then neither is that guy, and so I feel safe here. And so that's our biggest struggle. Your second question was job creation. Right now, we don't have the ability to hire people, so we're on a bartering system, and which has really been great. So I have, like the athletes, I have a player that's up at McDaniel College. He was a freshman last year, and so I got into contact with him through our insurance agent. It was his stepson, and what I'm doing with him is he's helping me run the basketball camps throughout the course of the day, and then I would train him in when the camp's not going on. So that's just kind of the bartering system. So all of my employees right now, I'm paying them through training, I'm paying them through using the gym, and that sort of thing. Ideally, as far as job creation, as far as hiring someone, that's the sooner the better, but we just need to have the ability to do it financially. Yeah.
Stick to the plan. You're doing a great job.
We have time for one more question. Here you go.
You mentioned Rocky, and I was wondering if you considered boxing as a sport at your factory.
When we had originally done the college, the plan that I had developed in college, I was partnering with my brother, who now lives in Charlotte, but at the time lived in New Jersey, and we had developed a blueprint for that, and boxing was one of them. And so when I walk by the sporting goods store, that's something that I think I would want to get involved in just for the training aspect of it. We don't have the space right now. We've kind of maxed out our space. Our kids area is also our plyometric area, and so we just don't have the space right now.
What is your square footage?
That playable space is 120 by 52. What's that, 6,000 square feet? And then we have 52 by 20 is underneath that loft. You can kind of see the ceiling there, and then above it is other space like that. So that's basically seating. When we run youth leagues or whatever, that's where the parents will sit. And
Pat, what can we do as a community to help and support you and help you in your growth?
Tell people what we're doing and send them. I really feel our biggest struggle even with camps was just all the kids that came there had a great time, and they came back. It's just a matter of getting the word out that they would come and visit, and that's really why we're doing this opening week where there's no charge, and we're kind of like we're limiting even the number of activities that we have scheduled just so guys can come in and just use the gym and just kind of walk around and just try things out. So as a community, the best thing you could do is send people our way and tell them that yes, it does cost money.
Have you considered guerrilla marketing where you go to the Cape, in this instance, and just say, hey guys, and put an ad or put an article in the Cape? That's awesome. That works. Also posters, flyers, and give me some stuff because I hand out a lot of stuff. I've got clients myself, so with kids, so that would be awesome. And guerrilla marketing's so cheap, so if you can do stuff like that, that really works. You know, many times I've done that, and I've gotten calls right and left.
We have, we had 13, I'll be done in a second. We had 13 weeks of advertisement in the Cape Gazette, which we're kind of about halfway through right now. So we just kind of been throwing out things that we've been doing, a half, or I guess it was a quarter page. And then Monday we had a writer from the Cape Gazette come over and interview me for an hour. So ideally we have more of that. You know, we're close with Fred Man, so if he can get in there and write in the sports section. She was in the business section, which I think is cool because I'm pretty sure we'll be in the sports section pretty soon, yeah. Yeah, so she did a story on us, and a lot of it has to do with how we got the floor.